In a previous video, we used Claude to build a complete presentation from a single prompt. Now let's go further, adding new sections, making targeted edits, transforming bullet-heavy slides into visuals, and even creating native charts. Our FinTech assessment mentions AI multiple times, but there's no dedicated slide that pulls all of this together. Let's tell Claude to add a new slide that brings these ideas together. We'll ask it to ask questions as needed to fit in our new slide. That last sentence triggers Claude to think before building. Instead of generating the slide immediately, Claude reads the existing content, considers what's missing, and asks clarifying questions first, like which AI native players to feature or how technical the slide should be relative to the rest of the deck. Once you've answered, Claude generates the slide with your input already factored in. It pulls the growth data from the existing slides and organizes the application areas into a structured format. The fonts, colors, and spacing match the rest of the deck. The new slide fits seamlessly into the flow. If we want to adjust it, we can select the slide and say, add a data point about how AI is reducing fraud losses for neobanks specifically. Claude adds the bullet to the selected slide without touching anything else. It places the new content in the correct text box and matches the existing formatting. Claude also tells you where it sourced the additional data. This is a common workflow. You notice a gap in your argument, and instead of switching to a browser to draft text and manually formatting a new slide, you describe what's missing, and Claude fills it in. Claude knows which slide and object you have selected. This makes targeted edits fast. The regulatory landscape slide is the densest in the deck. It has 4 subsections, each with nested bullets covering open banking, real-time payments, digital assets, and compliance. That's a lot to process on screen. Let's select just the Compliance and Data Governance section. We'll tell Claude, simplify this section. It currently lists DORA, GDPR, the RegTech market figure, and regulatory sandboxes. Condense it into one line that captures the key point. Claude rewrites that section in one line. The other 3 sections on the slide stay untouched. Claude only modified the content we selected. We can also make precise changes to individual elements. The slide title reads Regulatory Landscape, which is generic. We can select the title and say, make this title more specific to the story we're telling. Claude changes it to Regulation as a Growth Catalyst. The body content stays the same. This kind of precision matters when you're polishing a deck for a specific audience. You don't want to regenerate an entire slide to fix one headline or tighten one paragraph. Claude lets you work at the level of individual objects, the same way you'd edit manually, but faster. Bullet-heavy slides are one of the most common presentation problems. Claude can convert them into native PowerPoint visuals. The emerging trend slide has 4 sections, each with nested bullet points. We can tell Claude, convert this slide into a visual layout with 4 blocks, 1 per trend. Each block should have the trend name, the key metric or growth figure, and 1 sentence on why it matters. Claude produces a layout with 4 evenly spaced content blocks using the template's color scheme and fonts. Each block highlights the trend name as a subheading, pulls the most important number, such as the 8.4 billion to 69.3 billion by 2032 for AI, and adds a concise description. The dense bullet list is now a scannable visual. These are native PowerPoint shapes and text boxes, not a static image. You can move, resize, recolor, and edit each element individually. The difference between a slide full of bullets and a slide with a clear visual structure is often the difference between an audience that follows your argument and one that checks their email. Claude makes that conversion fast. Claude can also generate native PowerPoint charts from data already in your deck, or from data you describe. The competitive landscape slide currently presents 5 companies in a table. Tables are useful for reference, but they don't show relative positioning at a glance. We can ask Claude, Turn this table into a 2x2 matrix with revenue scale on the x-axis and growth rate on the y-axis. Plot each company based on the data in the table. Create icons for each company. Claude builds a quadrant chart using native shapes and positioned labels. Everything is native and editable. You can reposition labels, adjust axes, or add a new company without rebuilding the visual. Now, let's look at the regional landscape slide. It currently shows a bar chart with market share percentages and CAGR figures for 4 regions. The problem is that the chart only visualizes one dimension, share, while the growth rates sit in the legend text. The most interesting insight, that rest of world has the smallest share but the highest growth rate, is hard to spot. Let's tell Claude, this chart is trying to show 2 things at once, market share and growth rate. Replace it with a visualization that makes both dimensions clear. I want the audience to immediately see which regions are large today versus which are growing fastest. Claude replaces the bar chart with a clustered horizontal bar chart. The bars are scaled proportionally, so the contrast is immediate. The audience can now see both dimensions at once without reading legend text. The chart is native and editable. You can reposition elements, adjust colors, or restyle the labels directly in PowerPoint. From adding sections, to reshaping slides, to building charts, Claude handles the heavy lifting so you can focus on the story your deck needs to tell.